They don't recruit people by looking at the Quran. They recruit people by saying, Britain invaded Afghanistan. Britain invaded Libya. Britain supports the Saudi dictatorship. Britain supports the Israelis. Britain supports the dictators in the Middle East, in Egypt. And then you wonder why some people in Luton, watching what happened in Afghanistan to their brothers and sisters there, strap a bomb to themselves and blow themselves up in London.
Rather than saying, because of imperialism, it's okay for me to become a terrorist, or it's okay for me to join a rape gang, or something like that. That's a disgusting point you're making.
I said he believes that dropping bombs on Afghanistan and dropping bombs on Iraq is not equal to them blowing people up here.
And so that is why he's a hero. And what you were saying
if I were to
is
stand up
absolutely
here,
ridiculous.
if I were a Muslim, and there are some Muslims and there are some speakers who do this in one way or another, over the years I've seen it. If I was to turn around, and there's a friend of mine called Ishmael, he speaks at Speaker's Corner, and years ago he used to speak only a black nationalist lines. He changed his position, but he used to stand up at Speaker's Corner, he'd gather a big crowd, and he used to say, all whiteys are bad. Right? I'm sure you'll be happy with that.
I'm sure Tommy Robinson has never said that all Muslims are rapists or they're all terrorists. He's never said that.
In fact, he's come damn close. If he's never said that, he's come damn close. And I'm pretty sure you'll find there are statements he's made like that.
He's the only one who's speaking out about a major
About
problem.
what problem?
The problem is extremism in the Islamic community.
My friend.
Yes,
Now, let me ask you this.
But he does half truth.
Leftists are fucking
Let me
cowards,
ask you this.
and they are too weak-willed to speak out about this subject because
about this
they're a
subject now
bunch
with
of
you.
cowards. They
I'm
are.
giving you time
Well, I'm
to
saying
talk
generally
your bile,
leftists are
and
cowards,
I'm
that's
answering
what
you.
I'm saying.
Sorry?
They're unwilling to
I'm discussing with
defend
you.
their own
I'm
country.
discussing-
They're unwilling
What
to
country?
defend their own
What country?
principles.
country?
Here, the country
My
of the
friend,
UK.
My friend,
During the Second World
my
War.
friend, have you
Are you
ever?
telling me there were no leftists that joined up and went off and fought against Hitler? Is that what you're saying?
No.
You're saying the
I'm
British
saying
Army was...
they're cowards now. They weren't cowards
friend,
back in
my
World
friend,
War
my
II.
friend,
And what
my
did
friend.
Churchill
May
say
I
about
ask you
Islam?
this?
It's always been
May I ask
militant
you this?
religion
One
that's
simple
tried
question.
to dominate the West. And it's only through superior firepower that the West has been able to
The West, that
keep
includes
it.
Japan.
Do me a
The West
favour.
includes Japan.
Do me a favour. Before you
Which was a bit
before you
bigoted,
come back to this
I
meeting,
have to agree, but
before you come back to
he
this
makes
meeting,
a point, and so does Tommy Robinson.
before you come back to this meeting next
believe
week,
everything Tommy
or
says?
hang on,
No, I just think that he's great
Before
because
you
he
come back
actually
next week
speaks out about
to
a
this
serious
meeting,
problem.
can I ask you to do one
If you
thing?
are a good man, then you need to speak out about a serious problem.
Can I
agree with
ask
some
you
of
one
Tommy
thing?
says,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of stuff
Can I
that he
ask
says
you
is
one
absolute
thing?
nonsense.
Would you mind getting a DNA test?
I think that
Would you
I
mind
think that
getting a
basically-
DNA
yeah,
test?
Sure.
Would you mind getting a DNA test to check where your family comes from?
No, I'm okay.
You sure you're
Are
okay?
you sure about that?
What about if you found out that your blood relations were predominantly from the Middle East?
At what point in time?
I don't know, let's say 4 generations back,
To be honest, I've no
3
idea. mate.
generations back. Go and get a DNA test.
Are you pure white? Are you sure?
It's not about genetics,
Well,
though.
but you said our country.
Yeah, but it's
Our
about promoting
country.
the
My
culture.
country. What culture?
British culture.
Right, now,
And tradition.
I'm going to ask you this.
Ask him the proof.
I'm going to ask you this.
You're a cultural promoter, I
I'm
see.
going to ask you this.
Ask him this. What's the British values?
Hang
Tell
on,
us the
hang
6
on,
British
hang on, hang on,
values.
hang on, hang on, hang on,
British
hang on,
values.
hang on, hang on,
Okay,
hang on, hang on,
so,
hang on,
you-
hang on,
you-
hang on,
individual.
hang on, hang on, hang on, hang
Go
on.
on,
No,
go
I
on.
want to finish. He's got one.
I'm going to talk to you about some British values to show you how Tommy Robinson and how the British state and how the American state promote Islamic fundamentalist murders. And that is as follows. British culture, the last 180 years. How many times has Britain and the British Army invaded Afghanistan?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
It's British culture, British history.
Yeah, but I don't know everything about
Guess.
British history.
Guess.
5 times, 6 times.
Twice.
4 times. 4 times. Question number 2, supplementary and connected.
Is this mastermind?
How many times has Afghanistan invaded Britain?
Say probably 0.
In the last 1,000 years.
Good point.
Probably 0.
That's a fair point.
So has Britain therefore had more influence on the culture of Afghanistan than Afghanistan has had on the culture of Britain?
Do you believe in endless
Has it?
white guilt
Has
as
it?
a result of
I'm not talking about white guilt.
imperialist past?
I'm saying Britain has invaded Afghanistan 4 times.
Right.
Afghanistan has invaded Britain 0 times.
I have a problem with
Now,
imperialism.
now.
I don't like it. I want it to end.
There are
But I
bombs.
also have
There
a
are
problem
bombs which
with
have gone off
Islamic
in London.
extremism.
Yes, so do I. So do I. Believe you me.
What Tommy Robinson is saying is valid. He has a problem
No,
with
what Tommy
Islamic
Robinson is
extremism.
saying is not valid because he's as stupid and ignorant as you.
Because he
In the
hates,
sense that he
how do you hate
deliberately
working class
lies and mystifies and conceals
Yeah.
in order to manipulate people just to focus on the Muslims.
Yes.
And he does
He
not
talks
distinguish.
about this one
He
issue,
does
yeah,
not
that's what he
distinguish
does.
he's a
between
monomaniac.
Sunni
That does
and
tend to-
Shia.
that does tend
He
to-
does
mean, that's
not
just
say.
his area of
He does not.
expertise,
He
though,
said
to be
it is.
honest.
He comes out on demonstrations just to show you his
But-
affinities. He comes out on demonstrations dressed in flak jackets, right? And then going, the British Army, the British Army, the British Army. Why? Because he believes that dropping bombs on Afghanistan and killing
He's never
100,000
He's
Afghans
never promoted
or
war or
dropping bombs
imperialism
on Iraq
in the Middle
and
East.
killing 1,000,000 people.
He's against the British.
You haven't listened to what I said. I haven't finished my.
promotes war.
I said he believes
Yeah.
Know what he believes.
that dropping bombs on Afghanistan
No, he doesn't.
and dropping
he's
bombs
never
on
said
Iraq is
War is wrong,
not
okay?
equal
Really?
to them blowing people up here.
Of course it's equal.
He believes it's equal, is it?
I think it is.
Well, if it's equal,
But it doesn't
then an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth in the Bible,
No.
in the Christian Bible.
No, because a lot of the
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth
No, you can't have
would
a stable
mean.
society if you endorse terrorism. By saying that
if you
it's
endorse
okay to
terrorism, you
have
can.
terrorism because you have imperialism, that's just justifying the destruction of your own nation and your
No,
own
I'm-
people.
I'm explaining
And the left wing do
why.
this because they annihilate
Why
it. They
are
endorse
there
the
powerful
destruction of
bases
their
of
own
support?
people because
Why?
of imperialism.
And how do Islamic fundamentalists recruit people? They don't recruit people by looking at the Quran. They recruit people by saying, Britain invaded Afghanistan. Britain invaded Libya. Britain supports the Saudi dictatorship. Britain supports the Israelis. Britain supports the dictators in the Middle East, in Egypt. Britain supports the dictators in Syria. That's how they
Well,
gain
it's a
support.
shame all of those
And then
people
the
don't try
Quran
and
is an
build
embellishment
a
to
better
that.
world, and it's a shame they don't go into the subject of sociology.
Who?
These are people who are
What
being,
people?
I guess, the Muslims
people?
who are being
Muslims?
turned into
The Shia?
extremists.
Or
I
the
think it's a
Sunni?
problem.
I thought you
that
said
they
the Sunni
should
were the
be.
problem, and not
no,
the
no,
Shia.
hold on. I'm
Now
going to
all
make my
Muslims
point.
again,
I'm
is
going
it?
to make my
No,
point.
all
I
Muslims
think
again, is
what
it?
they should do
Who
is
should
try
do?
and
What
work
who
out
should do?
a way of
What?
making
Who
a
should
better
do?
world rather than becoming terrorists.
Who?
And you're saying
Who?
it's
Tony
okay
Blair?
for these
George Bush?
young jihadis to become terrorists
Netanyahu?
because of past
who does.
imperialistic
Past
abuses.
imperialist?
Yes.
Past
Who does it?
imperialist?
Uh-huh.
Is it past?
Well, I think maybe
In our
some
lifetime.
as
Netanyahu
it
shoots
goes on.
dead.
Right.
Hundreds of people and injures thousands of people for coming near a fence to trying to return to their homeland, who happen to be Muslims? Does that not promote anger and responses by Hamas?
I'm saying
and
rather than
responses
being
by the
enraged
Palestinians
by bitterness
from
and
generation
hate, it
to
would
generation
be better
to
if
generation.
these people actually tried to work out what they
What
need
people?
to do
What
to build
people?
a better world.
Who, Netanyahu?
No, I'm saying like for
The
a
Saudi
start, I'm
government.
saying the Muslims, but also everyone.
George W. Bush?
No, I'm saying
Tony Blair,
everyone, say,
Theresa
here
May,
in the UK, and
David
everyone
Cameron.
everywhere, really,
Sorry?
that you actually work out a way for trying to build a better future, rather than saying,
what I'm asking
because of
about.
imperialism, it's okay for me to become a terrorist,
who said
or
it's
it's okay for me
Who
to
said
join
it's okay?
a rape gang, or
to
something like that.
understand.
That's a disgusting point you're making.
The point,
You're
my friend,
justifying
the point, my
terrorism
friend,
on the
is not
basis
to
of
moan.
imperialism. Most British people do not stand up for imperialism.
Not
We are
to laugh.
against it. The
Not
mass
to
of the
laugh.
population are against imperialism.
Not to
Everyone
laugh
is against it.
or
Okay?
to cry,
So you cannot
but to
justify Islamic
understand
extremism and
That's the
terrorism
question.
on the basis
You
of
don't want to know
imperialism.
why.
That's right.
You don't know want to know why
imperialism.
things happen.
Right.
You just want to blame people
Yeah.
for your own miserable intellectual inefficiency.
Okay, well,
And your
there
own
we are then.
pathetic, rigid
I've had
strain
I've
of
had a
brain.
good debate, but yeah, cheers, thank you.
You haven't had a good
blame
debate.
people, do we? It's
You
all
have a
our-
closed
it's my
mind,
fault,
my
and it's
friend,
your fault, mate.
that
It's
is
all our fault.
incapable of grasping
You just want to murder Western
arguments that
civilization.
It's all my
That's
fault.
what the leftists
My
want to
friend,
do.
what is Western civilization?
my
Where's the
fault.
civilization
I'll take
in
all
which
the
you
blame.
live? That's
What
the
is
one.
that?
It's here, the UK,
What is
and the Western
Western
world.
civilization?
It's the modern world. It's all the things you see around you.
Like what?
So in other words,
It's all the technology of the modern world.
Everything.
It's the trade routes around the world.
That's
That's
all
what the
West-
West brought to the world.
bombs,
It's all my fault.
imperialism
Blame me.
was
Yeah,
in
there's some bad points.
Is it-
but
is it-
every single group of people have engaged in war
Democracy.
in the past. Civil war.
But I
and
asked
wars
you
against
earlier
other
on,
people.
Afghanistan, we attacked them 4 times, they attacked us 0. It's a little unequal. It's a little unequal, are they? In fact, they were invaded by Britain 4 times. They are village people,
How
generally.
many times were the Afghans invaded
And
by the
in
Russians?
those villages,
By the Iranians?
The main support,
Why are we stopping at the British?
the Americans financed, organised and trained Bin Laden. Yes, from 1979, the Americans. Now there's a mixture. Pakistan, there's a mixture. Pakistan, partly, some sections, sorry,
They're not American.
who's not?
Pakistan is not British, they're not American.
Pakistan is quite supportive of British, and the British give a lot of support to Pakistan. Saudi Arabia supports the Taliban, and Saudi Arabia is Britain's staunchest ally in the Middle East, and America's staunchest ally. But I'm sorry, because the truth of the matter is, as we saw with the man here, who doesn't want to discuss imperialism, the lady here, you see, is coming to the defense of oh my God, the Muslims are attacking us, because they see September the 11th as attacking themselves.
Well,
you're right in this
war,
respect.
civil war.
Because the gentleman earlier on, and I'm glad you've made a corrective to that, refused to understand people who are killed by Islamic terrorists are themselves Islamic. Of course it's sad. Of course it's sad. A comrade of mine was elected in Waziristan, in Pakistan, last week as a member of parliament. They are 500 meters from the border with Afghanistan. The Pakistani intelligence agencies, who have been working together with the Americans since the 1979 Soviet invasion and supported Bin Laden, Soviets. The Soviets.
Then who were they trying to kick out? The bloody
The Soviets were trying to kick out. The Soviets were trying to kick out, alongside the government of Afghanistan, trying to kick out the Islamic fundamentalists. Yes. However, the Islamic fundamentalists were armed, trained, organised, and manipulated by America, by Israel. Yes.
So easily manipulated.
Yes.
Do you not think that they had an agenda?
My friend, their agenda
Was?
was to remove the atheists. who had taken control of Afghanistan. They weren't able to do it on their own, so they required the Saudis, the Pakistanis and the Americans to do it for them. Bin Laden was in the pay of the Americans. Only afterwards did he turn against the Americans. And of course, because the Americans gather resources from all over the world by organising the terms of trade of the entire planet, and that's why Donald Trump's asserting America first at the moment, is to try and reorganise the world in America's interests, so that the middle classes of America, who have had their savings eradicated by the wealthiest people in America, who themselves financed, armed and trained the Taliban, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, those people decided that they need now to protect America from its own internal danger of revolution, an uprising by the people against their rulers. So in order to prevent that, which was reflected in the support that Bernie Sanders had, to reflect that, Donald Trump goes off in this lunacy, almost exactly the same bullshit and verbal diarrhea that the idiot standing in front of us a couple of minutes ago was coming out with, almost word for word the same crap from the President of the United States of America. From the President of the United States of America. He turns around and says, all Muslims should be stopped from coming to our country. Oh no, that's not racist. That's not Islamic phobic. Oh no, that's welcoming for everybody. Yet America kills 1 million Iraqis, and that's not racist. That's not violent. That's not Christian against Muslim. No wonder some people think it is that. No wonder. And the murder and torture, specially designed to humiliate, to outrage. My friend, like that, who were those people in Abu Ghraib? You remember the images? They pissed on the Muslim prisoners who weren't facing any charges. They just interned them without trial, without charge, piss on top of them, burn the Quran, shit on them, make them have sex with each other. And then you wonder why some people in Luton, watching what happened in Afghanistan to their brothers and sisters there, strap a bomb to themselves and blow themselves up in London.
That a lot of the people in Luton and people of such escape from those sort of places where those practices are normal.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. And they come here for a normal
And
life.
they became normal because America sought to overthrow Nejibullah's government, backed by the Soviets, sought to overthrow the secular government of Colonel Gaddafi, the secular government of Assad, the secular government in Iraq, and now, after having overthrown the secular government, a tidal wave of Islamic fundamentalism swept across the region, created, fostered, and promoted, whether intentionally or not, by Saudi Arabia, Israel and America, and by Britain.
What are your solutions, brother? Tell us.
My solution is that we need to tackle not false enemies in Britain. Our enemies are not people wearing nijabs. Our enemies are not people wearing hijabs. Our enemies are not people worshipping Islam. They are not people in Christian churches or evangelical churches. They are not religious enemies. Our enemies are not our brothers and sisters who come here as immigrants or migrants from elsewhere in the world, seeking a life where their own worlds have been destroyed by economics, by military attacks, by ecological disasters. Our enemies are not the people of another country or another religion or another sexual orientation. Our enemies are above us. Above us. They are the people who have the wealth and power. 6 people own more wealth than half of the world. Half of the world. Half of the world earns less than $2 a day. When we live in a world where science, technology, culture, education has had an exponential leap in development. We now live in a world where we can grow beef through stem cell technology, where we can cure disease, make nanobots to put in the body to kill cancer cells before they develop. We live in a world where we can produce unlimited quantity of food for everybody on Earth. We can probably live for 200 or 300 years. Children born today can probably live for 200 or 300 years. And yet, instead of this, we face a world of ecological, political, military, economic conflict, cultural and religious conflict, stoked up by idiots and bigots and reactionaries trying to turn us against each other. When it's your boss, when I was evicted this week, the boss of the company evicted me, came to the security guards in the building. There were 3 guards in the building. He came to them and he said, do this, do that, obey me, hide now, move that, do that, and all of them run around on his behalf. I stood up to him and I said, who on earth do you think you are? You think you're somebody? You're a nobody. You're a pathetic weasel of a creature, stealing property from people, exploiting people, plundering people. And then all of a sudden the security guards, they were listening like this. You know what? At the end, 2 of the guards come up to me, they shook my hand and said, good on you, mate, well done. Because they are cowed by this power relationship, that this guy can boss them around or sack them, make them do what he wants because he's got money power over them. The truth of the matter is, despite their apparent power and their airs, their appearances of power, you can reduce them to nothing if you stand up to your rights, if you combine together. You combine together.
The wealthy
organize together.
The wealthy create
we have the power and we have the numbers to bring about change in society, to transform the balance of power in property between tenants and landlords,
on the mainstream media. How can you do that?
in economics between the worker and the supervisor, between the worker and the bosses, between people and companies. We can, we must, and we will fundamentally transform the relationships in society.
On the mainstream media.
And if you don't wish to go along with it, you will be on the other side.
People are happy with the
Too
system.
bad.
Make them pay their taxes.
We're happy with the system.
Pay your taxes.
You are happy with the
No,
system.
everyone is. Nobody's doing
Millions
anything,
and
yeah?
millions of people hate it.
They don't. They
And
don't.
require,
They're perfectly happy with
like Archimedes says, give me a fulcrum and I will move the universe. Give me a point of reference, a place to stand, and I can move the universe. That argument from Archimedes is true today as it was then. Yes, there are people, protect the property, protect the elite, protect those in power. But the truth of the matter, just as Jeremy Corbyn, in quoting from Shelley, has said, we are the many, they are the few. That is a fact. A Labour government under Jeremy Corbyn, backed by the people, we will bring about change. And we will break the power of this capitalist class and their gangsters who rule over the world. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen.
For the many, not the few.